Welcome once again to week 13 of the NFL football season. My name is Wayne Shorter, D-Generation Wayne, host of the Eliminator Sports Network, coming to you like I always do each and every week to help you to in your last man standing survival pools, eliminator pools, suicide pool, whatever pool that you're in, whatever name that you call it, we're here to get you to survive an event, and we're coming up with about 4 more weeks to go till the end of the season. We're in week 13. So now it's time to use those picks you've been saving up, those teams you've been saving up for this time of the year. If you've gone through 12 weeks successfully, congratulations. You still have 5 more to go. So with that being said, you already know the rules. You don't want me to explain them again and again and again. So we're going to go into the games this week. Last week, I took the Miami Dolphins, and it was a nail-biter. But they did hold on to win by a score of 31-24. Colin Kaepernick had a chance to get in the end zone to tie the game, but Kiko Alonso, I think that's his name, who ironically is a Cuban American, on the death of Fidel Castro, which Colin Kaepernick supported. How much irony is that? So with that being said, we're going to go on into this week's games. As you probably already know, the Dallas Cowboys ran their winning streak once again to 11 straight games. Yes, I hate the Cowboys, but they are the best team in football right now. They beat the Vikings by a score of 17-15. So, of course, I wouldn't have took that game anyway because Minnesota is at home and they've been slumping. So, Dallas, they survive and advance another week. I think next week they get the Giants and maybe clinch the division next week. So, for us Cowboy haters, we didn't see this coming. Trust us, we really didn't at the beginning of the year. So, let's go into this week's games, the Sunday, the 1 o'clock games, as follows. Atlanta Falcons, 3.5-point favorites of the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs right now are probably the second best team in the AFC. The Atlanta Falcons, coming into this game right now, they're hanging on for dear life. I think they're 7-4 in the NFC South. The Falcons, Julio Jones, best receiver in the game right now. Matt Ryan is putting up MVP numbers. As far as an eliminator pick goes, this is a too hard game to pick. This is probably one of the best games of the day. So we're going to skip it. But if you want to pick for this game, I think the Falcons will win. I don't think they'll cover the spread. It'll be a late field goal. They'll win. They'll win by 3, like 27-24. All right, another big game coming up this week. The Detroit Lions coming off that thriller on Thanksgiving Day when they beat the Vikings with that late pick and set up for the field goal to win 16-13. Taking on the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees and company, 5.5-point favorites. I think that's too high of a point spread. I think it'll be a closer game. I do expect a shootout. I don't think it'll be in the 20s. I think it'll be like a 37-31 game. Or a 34-31 game, I should say. I think the Saints will win it late. It'll be a lot of points scored. If you got if you got Drew Brees or Matt Stafford in your fantasy league, you should have a pretty good day. The Saints defense is god-awful. And it's going to be points scored everywhere. So if you want a really good, exciting offensive game, this is the one to look forward to this weekend. The Saints 5.5-point favorite. I don't think they'll cover the point spread, but the Saints will win. The game that probably a lot of us, including myself, is taking, even though we just got news that Rob Gronkowski is out for the year, it doesn't matter. It's the Rams. It's Tom Brady. They should have no problems beating the Rams. The Patriots have no problem beating the Rams. 13.5-point favorite. It is a little high now with Gronk being out, but the Rams just don't score. So I'm pretty sure that the Patriots will win this game. They'll probably win it by at least 20, maybe like 27-7. Rams just can't score. Jared Goff is looking pretty good, so now it's making people wonder, why did this man sit for 10 whole weeks, 10, 11 weeks, while Case Keenum start for the LA Rams? You're back in LA. There's no reason why Jared Goff should have been playing from day one. So for them to waste 11 weeks to say he ain't ready, and then he comes out against the Saints. Now, granted, the Saints is not a good defense. He did throw, I think, 3 touchdowns His first 3 touchdowns in the NFL, which shows you how bad the Saints defense is. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. But that being said, this is a Bill Belichick defense, and they're going to light this rookie up. 27-7. Don't even worry. Take the Patriots. It'll be an easy week. You ain't got to worry. Next game up, Denver Broncos, a 5.5-point favor over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, probably Gus Bradley will be gone after this year. I think they're 2-9. Broncos are fighting for not only the AFC West title, but a top seed in the AFC, along with probably the best division in football, the Chiefs and the Raiders. I think that if the Jaguars will keep it close, but Denver, Trevor Siemian, they'll find a way to win it. As far as an eliminator pick goes, you know how I feel. I don't like to take a road team, but if you wanted to take Denver this week, if you haven't used them, this will be a safe game to use them. So even though I'm against taking the road team, but I think in this case, I think Denver will win on Sunday. Now, the game coming up, we have the Green Bay Packers coming off a big win on Monday Night Football. Short week, taking on the Houston Texans and Brock Osweiler, who right now is not looking like the $72 million quarterback that the Texans have invested in. $37 million guaranteed. Now, Aaron Rodgers, the Pack looks like they're starting to get their rhythm, their timing, and everything going. They did it against a pretty good Eagles defense on Monday night. This is the time they got to make their run if they want to get in the playoff hunt, because the way it's looking right now, I don't think they'll get the division. Even though that last game in Week 17, I think it's Packers at Lions or Lions at Packers, but I know they play each other the last Week 17 of the season, so it's critical that the Pack keep up with the Lions. So if the Lions lose and the Pack win, it'll shrink it down to either they'll be even or there'll be a game back. And you really, with Aaron Rodgers, you trust him more than you trust Matt Stafford as far as the division goes. But in this game coming up, you got the Texans and the Packers. If you haven't used Green Bay in your eliminator, I think this would be a safe time to use them, because the Texans aren't looking good and Osweiler pretty much isn't worth $72 million. So if you haven't used Green Bay, this will be my number 3 pick. Patriots is my number 1 pick. As far as the home teams go, I'm looking at the Packers as my 2 or 3 pick, unless I see something a little better. And you should feel pretty comfortable with those 2 teams. Coming up next on the 1 o'clocks is the Philadelphia Eagles, coming off a very tough loss to the said Packers. 1.5-point favor over the Cincinnati Bengals, who my Ravens finally took them out after like 2 years of not beating them. But granted, it was a lot harder than it really should have been. I mean, I'm not gloating over it, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the Bengals didn't have Giovanni Bernard or A.J. Green, and still the Bengals almost won the game, which shows you how much the Ravens, the AFC North just sucks. I mean, I'm just going to call it as I see it. The AFC North sucks. 9 wins. Pretty much whoever goes between the Ravens and the Steelers, both teams are 6-5. Let's just call it as we see it. Whoever wins 4 of the next 6 wins the division. And the 2 teams play each other on Christmas night, which will be for the division title. So, Eagles, Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this. I think the Bengals got something to prove. They got to try to save, Marvin Lewis's job, even though they say it's not in jeopardy. But 14 years, no playoffs, enough said. Maybe it is time for a change. But I would gladly take him back as my defensive coordinator. Now, here's probably the big game of the week, and this is a huge game. Now, if you looked at this game at the beginning of the season, considering how the Ravens was always perennial contenders, and the Dolphins pretty much 500 or lower, you probably would have said, and a new coach coming in, Ryan Tannehill, not as good. You probably would have thought, okay, this is an easy game for the Ravens, mark that as a win. Not anymore. The Dolphins are 7-4 and fighting for a playoff spot. The Ravens, of course, fighting for the AFC North title and a playoff spot as well. Ravens are 3.5-point favorite. It's not going to be 3.5 points. It'll probably be 1. And, of course, the MVP of the team, Justin Tucker, game-winning field goal. I just do this every time he goes onto the field because it's automatic. When you see Justin Tucker, just put your arms up like this because you know it's going through the uprights. 34 consecutive field goals. Best kicker in football. Team MVP. And I'm going to say something that, He may not get a lot of consideration, but believe it or not, if the Ravens win the North, I would put him in the league MVP conversation because pretty much he's our offense. With that being said, so Ravens against the Dolphins, definitely not use him as an eliminator, but if you want a nail biter or a heart-stopping game, it's going to be defense and Justin Tucker, just what we do in 2000. So, final score, 17-14, Tucker wins it, late field goal, or even 17-16, but I guarantee it, the Ravens will score 17. All right, here's a game that nobody's going to be watching. The San Francisco 49ers at 1-11 now, against the 2-10 Bears. Wow. Can we just pass on this? But I got to give some analysis on it. As an eliminator pick, I'll tell you, you know what? This one, wow. I would gamble on using the Bears as an eliminator pick. You only got to use them for 1 week. And if you're going to use them, this is the week to use them. They're playing the worst team in football. But this will probably be the week the 49ers win. So, this is my number 3 pick. Now, here's my selections in the order of what I will use. Definitely the Patriots at 1. I haven't used them all year. Packers at 2. I don't think I've used them. And believe it or not, the Bears at 3. So, 2.5-point favorite. The Bears are a better team, but if Colin Kaepernick keeps playing the way he's playing, putting up fantasy numbers, 49ers will win this game. So with that being said, Bears will win, probably by a score of 21-17. They'll cover if the Bears win. They will cover if they win. All right, heading to the 4 o'clock games, we have the Buffalo Bills and the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders, one of the hot teams of the AFC West, triumphant. The Bills is hanging in there for a playoff spot. Raiders will win this. They'll probably win this by maybe 2 scores, like 31-21. Derek Carr's proven he's an MVP candidate. Amani Cooper's a beast. Michael Crabtree, he's not proven that the Raven game was not a fluke. He's turned into a pretty good receiver, especially that catch he made that almost got his helmet knocked off against the Panthers. So, with that being said, Oakland Raiders, stay in Oakland, work out a deal, stay in Oakland, you belong in Oakland, or if you're going to move to LA, which is going to come up to my other team that is going to be later on, that's going to lose their team to LA, the San Diego Superchargers. It's a sad story, and, it's depressing to think about it, but the Raiders, they're finally are relevant again. They're finally a team that you want to watch, you want to root for. Reggie McKenzie, I'm going to tell you right now, is the executive of the year. I don't think there's not even going to be a close vote for what he has done. And as much grief as he had with this franchise when he got there and the salary cap hell that they was in, they had to eat so many contracts. Now to see this Raider and the smart picks, and they wanted, and believe it or not, actually 2 years ago, Reggie McKenzie was on the hot seat to be fired in Oakland. So it just shows you that Mark Davis has some brains. He said, we're going to ride this out. We're going to give him time. We're in salary cap hell. Let him do what he got to do. He's not only done a great job of rebuilding, they actually took one of my Ravens, Kelechi Osemele, KO, and he's now on one of the better lines in football with the Raiders. So, Raiders should beat the Bills. Tyrod Taylor, Kelechi Osemele, former Ravens. I'm going to go in with the Raiders. I think right now they are the hot team. They're probably going to end up winning the AFC West. And the other 2 teams that's fighting, the Chiefs and the Chargers, the Chiefs and the Raiders. Chiefs, Raiders. I'm missing a team. And I can't. Broncos. Duh. Shoot me. Broncos. Those 3 are getting in from the AFC. One will win the division. The other 2 will be wild cards. So, with that being said, let's move on. I can't believe this. This is going to hurt me. There's 2 teams I really don't like. A Ravens fan, you don't like the Steelers. I got Giant fans that are friends of mine, and I actually have to. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have to root for the Giants. I mean, my God, it just, oh man, it just sucks. But Steelers are a 5.5-point favorite over the G-Men. This will be my upset. I got to root for the Giants. G-Men will take out the Giants. The Ravens will be a game up in the division after this Sunday. So, as far as eliminator pick, I wouldn't even take the Steelers on this because right now, the Steelers defense is not as good. They have a great offense with the Killer Bees and Ben, Bell, and Brown. So, they'll put up some points, but I think the Giants with Eli, they'll take care of business. They'll beat them 27-24. Late field goal wins it. All right, another game that it's pretty much a elimination game for the Cardinals, which is kind of having an off year. 2.5-point favorite over the Redskins. I think the Cardinals will pull this game out. I don't know how they're going to do it. Redskins got to win to stay keep pace. I think right now they're the 6th seed. They got to keep pace because you got Tampa Bay on your heels. You've got, you're trying to keep up with the Giants. You got the Seahawks. You even got the Panthers. They're still kind of alive. The Packers, which one thing the Redskins do have, they do have the tiebreaker over Green Bay because of the win on Sunday Night Football last Sunday. So right now, you just have to, if you're a Redskins fan, you got to go into Arizona and beat this team while it's down. Last year, they were in the NFC Championship game. They probably won't make it there this year. As far as an eliminator pick goes, just stay away from it. I just think the Cardinals somehow will pull it out. They'll pull it out at home and get the win to probably somehow save their season. Here's a huge game coming up. Last game on the 425 calendar, Tampa Bay against San Diego. And I'm going to tell you what, San Diego, y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves. Take it from a guy who witnessed the Colts leaving Baltimore and is still bitter about it 30-some years later. You don't want to lose your team that you have grown up to, the San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers. Dan Fouts, John Jefferson, Kellen Winslow, Wes Chandler, Chuck Muncie. I could roll off names of the Chargers because that was an Eric Coryell offense. They should stay in San Diego. Come on, San Diego, work it out. Stop letting your pride and your ego on a hotel tax that it's not even going to affect the residents. It's just going to affect the people who come in. And trust me, you're going to go to San Diego for the weather. You don't care about the hotel tax because it's one of the most beautiful cities in America. I call it Baltimore City West, but cleaner. So, San Diego, please, you got time. Don't make a mistake with the Colts that Indianapolis and Cleveland made and assume you think this team is going to stay in an antiquated stadium. Do what you got to do. Get the job done so your Chargers can be around for the next 50 years. So even if it means just give Spanos the land so he could build the stadium. Do it. I'll tell you what. Memo to Alex Spanos. Do the Jack Cook thing. Just ask the city, give me the land, I'll build it. Just pay for the infrastructure. You see well, it was a great stadium at FedEx Field. Now they're looking for another one. But the point of the matter is that the Chargers belong in San Diego. Get a deal done. You've got to the end of the season. Make it happen. Don't let this team go to LA because you're not going to see football ever again. You're a great Super Bowl city as a host. Think of your past and use the stadium for your future. You can even get some Final Fours if you build a dome over it. And I guarantee a lot of people would come to San Diego for the Final Four. You can rest assured on that. Think of the economic future that your city is riding on right now. You don't want to be irrelevant just having the Padres. We know what it was like just to have the Orioles for 14 years and not have football. Football is not a privilege. It's not a right. It's something that it's in you. So San Diego, get the job done, all right? Now, enough of my soapbox. Tampa Bay will win this game. They need this more. This is pretty much an elimination game for the Chargers. As far as an eliminator pick goes, stay away. Now, final game, Sunday night game, Carolina Panthers having a tough go of it against the Seattle Seahawks in the 12th man up at CenturyLink Field. Seattle, 6.5-point favorite. Russell Wilson is pretty much back to being Russell Cam Newton is pretty much Cam Newton. This is it's a quarterback dream matchup. Newton will do his thing, but Seattle and their defense and Russell Wilson will come out victorious. Don't think they'll cover, though. I think it'll be like 23-17. Panthers will cover, Seahawks will win. As far as eliminator pick goes, if you haven't used Seattle all year, believe it or not, this would be a good time to use them. I think I've used them earlier, but if you want to use Seattle, I tell you the best the picks to go this week, if you're having eliminators, I'm going to recap it in 1 second, is the Patriots, the Packers, believe it or not, the Bears, and I'll probably put the Seahawks. Those are the 4 good ones to go with this team. My pick is going to be, of course, the Patriots. I think even without Gronk, they're still going to, get the job done. Final game, Monday night game, the Colts, a 2.5-point favorite over the Jets, who pretty much is playing out the string. Andrew Luck should be back for this game, and Ryan Fitzpatrick should be playing for the Jets. I don't even know what to even tell you if you haven't. As far as who's going to win this, I just think the Colts will pull out a win. I don't know how. I can't believe I'm saying it, but if, and it's a big if Luck is cleared, Colts win. If Luck is not clear, the Jets will win. It pretty much comes down to Andrew Luck's health. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed the video this week. God bless you. See you for week 14. And if you've made it through another week surviving events, look forward to the next week. We got a lot more fun and a lot more analysis to come. Till then, God bless you. Peace.